Hello once more, my human friends! In a previous video we have spent almost an hour of our lives trying to understand conceptual design of current chat sign-in and chat reporting system in Minecraft. But exploits I covered there are far from being the only exploits that exist right now. They are merely the most deeply rooted ones. And now we will cover the rest. Keep in mind that I will be building off of what we have discussed in that video, so you should totally watch it first if you didn't yet. A couple of days ago, a new video from Gaslight developers have dropped, showcasing what their mod can do if you install it on server that your victim joins. To understand what they are doing here, we need to understand two custom commands they are using, /sendSystem and /sendHidden. SendSystem allows you to send a message as a system message instead of player message, similar to how messages about player deaths are sent, for instance. Important thing to keep in mind about system messages is that they are completely disconnected from player message chains, and in the context of chat reports, they basically don't exist at all. Now, sendHidden is a more interesting case. In 1.19.1, Mojang have added special packets that the server can send to the client to force that client to hide certain player message in chat based on header signature that is specified in the packet. This can be used for good purposes, such as clearing the chat log, for instance, but as you'll see, this can be used for malicious purposes too. The sendHidden command itself allows you to send a message into the chat, but then the server will immediately send aforementioned packet to hide your freshly sent message. What this accomplishes is that, even though other clients have received the message and will include it in their last seen signatures when they send their own messages, the actual players who play from those clients are very unlikely to see hidden messages even for a split second. If you remember my lecture about the importance of last seen signatures in chat reports, you can probably already see the problem, because this allows you to trick the players into cryptographically acknowledging messages that they never actually seen. With that in mind, once you watch the clip, everything makes sense. Attacker sends a hidden message with incriminating question first, which victim will unknowingly add to their last seen messages, and follows it with a system message containing harmless question, which does not go into last seen messages of the target and will never make it into the report. If you think about it, it's not even the only way you can exploit the ability to send hidden messages, but it's a great demonstration. In this case, target of the attack can see that the message they receive is a system message. However, they can easily be tricked into thinking that the server simply converts all player messages into system messages, because that's what a lot of mods and plugins do to prevent chat reporting. Since the server is not forced to deliver same packets to everyone, it can show actual signed player messages only to some of the players. So yes, if you have no protection measures on client, you can easily be tricked into incriminating yourself without even realizing what is happening. I have no idea how someone could look at the signature system, then look at the idea of giving servers the power to retroactively hide messages on client, and approach a conclusion that combining the two is a good idea. But nevertheless, here we are. But that is not all, my friends. There is another, even more sinister exploit that have remained untalked about until this day. In a previous video we have already discussed how you can remove certain messages from the report and have legitimate premise to do so. However, as I mentioned, from the report it will still be obvious that something is missing. But what if I told you that there's a way to get around that you can remove messages in such a manner as if they never were? Let's switch to a more graphic example for a moment. The flowchart on top will represent the conversation that actually happens on server. The flowchart below is what we want our malicious chat report to look like. So how do we achieve that? We start our conversation exactly as above, sending hello and what do you think about creepers messages. However, before our target replies, we send a third hidden message that belongs to this fabricated chain below. Now, what would normally happen is victim's client would detect that third message is not a part of the chain that it was previously receiving from that player, and it would immediately disconnect from the server. This would protect it from acknowledging malicious message chains. But there's an easy way to get around that. What the server can do is just send a couple packets that convince victim's client that you have just left the server and then rejoined it. Normally, the server would also send chat message to indicate that it happened, but it doesn't have to. And what happens then is victim's client will accept first message you sent after rejoin whatever chain it belongs to. So, after sending first 2 messages from the chart above, we convince the client of our victim that you have just rejoined, and then you send the third, hidden message that belongs to malicious chain, and when the victim replies, everything will look as if conversation proceeded exactly as on flowchart below, and in chat report, nothing will give away what really happened. This is huge, because combined with the power to send hidden messages, the power to trick players into acknowledging malicious message chains gives you the ability to fabricate report context to the exact same extent as you could with old signature system before any of the exploits were fixed. The only 2 restrictions you need to account for are: first, you have to control the server, because otherwise you just don't have access to necessary tools, and second, you have to do this in real time. You cannot fabricate context after conversation already happened. But that is all. Now, in fact, I knew about these exploits much earlier. The reason I did not cover them in my previous video is that they do not arise from conceptual design of signature system, they are merely the issues of current implementation, and they have simple solutions. So we can probably expect 1.19.3 to drop sometime soon and address this. But unless they redesign the system completely once again, you can expect my previous video to remain fully relevant. Also, just for reference, I was not the person to originally discover that second exploit, and the person who did discover it have reported it to Mojang's issue tracker before 1.19.1 was even released. Mojang knew about this problem before chat reporting was officially out, and they still have not done anything about this, even though they had every opportunity. Now that my video is out, we'll see whether this will be enough to motivate them. We'll keep this one short, so not holding you with a long epilogue. Stay safe, and I hope we shall meet once more.